Those living in the South are used to the bone-chilling folklores that surround communities, from the black magic of New Orleans to the eerie remnants of once productive plantations. Southerners know the fair share of spooky tales. So why is it that each narrative has its own mystique? There are plenty of stories of ghosts seeking revenge and mysterious creatures roaming during the night. But why does each story fascinate us in a uniquely different way? Is it the sordid desire for darkness and the unknown? Is it closure for those who have passed, or perhaps it is good old American bonding? The reasoning behind one's fascination with ghost stories is open-ended. The number of accounts to tell are endless. One of the most famous folk tales to come out of Tennessee is the chilling account of the Bell Witch. The narrative is one of realism versus myth, one of revenge and ultimately one of evil. The wealthy Bell family settled on 300 acres of land in the modern-day location of Adams, Tennessee. On this piece of land was enough room for slaves, a mysterious cave, and terminal torture. It was not until 13 years later that the family began to notice strange things happening. John Bell, the patriarch of the family, shot at what appeared to be a cross between a dog and a rabbit. No creature he had ever seen before. Unfortunately, it had gotten away, and he was left with nagging curiosity. Then things began to take a turn for the worst. Members of the Bell family were terrorized in the night. Blankets were ripped from their bodies, and the worst part of it all was that safety was not promised during the day. They were kicked, scratched, and slapped so much to the point that Elizabeth Bell, one of the daughters, was left with bruises all over her body. Enough was enough. John had to do something about his family being terrorized. Not even his slaves were safe. They were being prevented from entering the home and were relentlessly beaten. One of the slaves, Dean, was determined to find his own solution, which resulted in him carrying a weapon at all times and a witch ball made by his wife to protect him. That's who had to be behind this, John concluded. A witch. He and the rest of the community gathered around the forum and committee in hopes of solving the supernatural mystery. There were whispers of Kate Batts being behind all of this, due to her rumored infatuation with the dark arts. When John Bell scoffed at the proposal, one of the townswomen pointed out that Kate and her husband, Frederick, had bad blood with Bells concerning the sale of slaves. The reminder of the woman chimed in and blamed occurrences on revenge, but the Bell patriarch was convinced that the problems had a supernatural force behind it. John felt demented. He could not determine whether the evil behind the events happening was caused by a spirit or a physical being. All he knew for sure was that it wanted to claim his life. The Bells had many children, and 3 of their sons fought under General Andrew Jackson, who would soon be the 7th President of the United States. The stories of the Bells told came across to General and other soldiers as folklore. The boys were so determined to prove that they were telling the truth that they invited them to their home in Tennessee. Upon arrival, the wheels of the carriage were unable to move, and the witch called them frauds. Shortly after, they fled to Nashville. The last straw was the death of John Bell on December 20th, 1820. He fell ill, which many believe the Bell Witch cursed him with, and when his son went to search for his medicine, he found a vial that was not completely filled. Frustrated with the fact that he was unable to save his father, he threw the vial into the fire, and the liquid burst into a brilliant blue flame. I gave old Jack a big dose of it last night, which fixed him. She had claimed the life of a man and left his family devastated. She left the town disturbed and fearful of their lives, and the worst of it all was that she was not finished. At John Bell's funeral, she disrupted the service by singing, drinking songs. Hundreds of years later, her evil aura can be understood by visiting the cave that once stood on the long-gone Bell's land. Some report chilling winds and uneasy presence. Although Kate Batts was never confirmed as the culprit behind the Bell's witch harassment and murder, many believe that she used the character as the act of revenge. Others believe that the Bell Witch was a spirit of a woman whose body was uprooted from the construction of the Bell home. All that is certain was the dread that she caused.